All right, so first of all, I don't have a lot of room in the house, again, to do the headshot. So I had to come up with a way where I can put my backdrops up and still give myself some decent distance from the background to my subject. So what I did is I went ahead and I purchased a roll of gray paper, which you see right above the door, from my local camera shop. And I had to cut it down because they usually come at about 7'3", and I had to cut it down. Actually the space in between the doors are about 7 feet. So I went ahead and I cut that down. Then what I did is I went to Home Depot and I got these cool little, not really sure what they're called, but they're basically made for if you want to hang up mops and brooms and things like that. The bar that I'm using is the bar that I had for my backdrops. I just went ahead and put it through back there. I know it's kind of hard to see, but what I can do now is just kind of roll down that paper whenever I have a photo shoot. And then when I'm done with the photo shoot, I can just go ahead and roll it back up. This way it stays out of my way. So if I wanted to attach a different color backdrop, I have these hooks that are really made for Christmas wreaths. I went ahead and put them on the inside of the door instead of the outside of the door, and that fits perfect. I have a pole that I use here, and I just go ahead and slide the different color backdrops. I mean, I've got green and blue and black and yellow and whatever color that you need. That then fits right up across those hooks and gives me enough space for if I'm doing headshots or even if I'm doing a family shoot. All right, so here is the setup that I have in the house. It's super easy. It's a clamshell setup, which I find is great for if you're doing headshots, realtors, things like that. This is perfect, and that's basically what I do. So here I have a 3-foot Octabox, and inside I have an egg crate grid. And the reason for that, again, is because I don't have a lot of distance. So I'm going to show you right here. This is going to be from where I kind of stand. I stand right behind it and I shoot through these two soft boxes. And so I'm from here to there, which is almost 8 feet. So I don't have a lot of room. And then this controls the light. So instead of it spreading all around the room, it is just going to fall directly on my subject. So below that, I've got I believe it's a 2-foot by 2-foot square softbox. And again, I'm also going to have that egg crate in there. I just kind of took down the outer layer so you can kind of see what's inside. Again, it's going to help with the direction of the light so it doesn't spread all over. If I'm taking, say, maybe 3 people or even a family shot, I'll go ahead and I'll remove that because I want as much light as possible. But I also have other lights, and I also have the reflectors, things like that I can put up and around the room if I actually need more light. So again, here's the setup. Super simple. I keep it probably a good 8 feet away from the backdrop and about 6 feet. No, I'm sorry. Probably around 3 feet away from my subject. Now what I'm using is my flashes are the Alien Bees. I have to tell you, I've been doing photography for years, and these are my original flashes, and I've never needed to change them out because they've always done a great job for me. So this is going to be my Alien B. It's a 1600. And then I've got the one at the bottom, which is an Alien B 800. And what I do is I will trigger them with the Photics trigger on my camera. And here are the receivers. Now the awesome thing about these receivers is, you know, they've got the little hot shoe for if I want to hook up a flash. It actually has A, B, C, D, so I can hook up 4 different flashes to them, and I can turn them on and off as I shoot. So if I want to do a hair light, turn off the hair light from the trigger, I can go ahead and do that instead of having to walk over and turn it off. My Octabox is by Light Gear USA, and the smaller square one is by Interfit. I have a couple of the Interfits, and what I just picked up the other day, follow me over here to my couch, is a couple of these, I don't know what they're called, slip ones. LA softbox. It says Studio Professional on it. And I tell you, they're great, especially if you don't have a lot of room. And this would be also great for if you want to light up the backdrop or if you need hair light. They're easy to put together. They're easy to break down. So let's go ahead and go over the equipment really quick that I use. I use the Canon 6D. And my favorite lens for doing headshots is my 70-200. This is the Sigma lens. It is a 2.8. Love it. It's very sharp. You can get like tack detail on the eyes, which is super, super important when you're doing shots, when you're doing headshots. Then we have my Photics transmitter, which is going to be on top of that. And then something that I just picked up not too long ago. This piece up here is the Pixel. I think it's called Pixel Pro. You can kind of see it up there on top. Sorry, I just don't remember the name. And that I can use to, it comes with a remote control, and I can trigger the camera from a wireless remote control. Just really comes in handy, really inexpensive, and kind of a cool tool to have. One of the other things that I use all the time, and I do suggest you picking one up if you don't have one. This is my light meter. This is a Minolta. This guy is old. This, I don't know how old it is, but it's old. But it works excellent. So basically what I'm going to do with this is when I am doing the photos, sorry, my camera's in the way now. When I'm shooting the photos, say if I want like a 5.6 aperture, I'm gonna set the flash coming off the top at one exposure, and then the bottom one's gonna be another exposure. And then once I put those two exposures together, they might make a 5.6. So normally what I would probably do is my main light, which is my key light, which is the one up on top. That's probably going to be around a 4.2, maybe a 4.3. And then the exposure for the flash on the bottom is going to be a 4.0. Now, when I put both of those together, that's going to make a 5.6. Now, I've made the mistake in the past of making that a 5.6 and then that a 5.6 and then, doing the photo shoot and then realizing it's too hot. The nice thing about doing the upper exposure at a different exposure and then the lower one at a lower exposure, you fill the shadows of the person's face without overexposing too much. Okay, and that's something that you can't do in post-production. So you want to make sure that you kind of get that, dialed in when you're doing the shot. And if you're using a light meter, it is like a 1 minute process. So you go ahead and especially with the piece that I told you on top of the camera, I can stand back and get into the frame and take a couple of the shots, shooting with the main light first, and I can check for the exposure and then turn that off, and then I can go ahead and check for the exposure for the bottom one just to make sure that both of them together is a 5.6, and makes your life much, much easier, especially when you have a client coming over. You don't want to have to mess with the lights when the clients are there because, time is money. So looking at a distance kind of from the back of it, this would be my setup. And of course, that's where I have the paper backdrop that I can just roll down. And you can see how convenient it is. I have it up above the door, and you can't even really tell it's up there. I put it up there probably a couple of months ago and never told my wife, and she's never even noticed it. So that's a good thing. So, we'll walk around here. This is, the back angle, and then here's going to be the front angle. And what I do, like I said, I just kind of shoot right through the two soft boxes. And I tell you, it gets some really fantastic shots. All right, so in the description, I'll go ahead and put in my camera settings and really any other setting that I think you may need. The thing is, it's hard to tell because all of your flashes are gonna have a different setting on them. Yeah, whatever I can think of, if I need to throw anything in the description, what might help you out. If you have any kind of questions, ask me. I've been through so much just trying to start out, trying to figure out the correct way to do the headshots and the lighting. And once you figure out, it's awesome and it's simple. It's super simple. You can do this with two flashes. You can do it with one if you want, and then just use like some sort of a fill light or a reflector if you have a little space like I have here. So have any questions, let me know. Like it, dislike it, whatever. I'm just trying to put it out there, so if you need some extra information, make it as simple as possible. You guys have a good one. James Caprio Photography. Have a good day.